Hello everyone, welcome back to Grown Ups the Podcast Season 4. Hi Ellie, how are you?
Hey girl, guys, we have not changed. Sorry, that was the exact same tone and everything that we did.
It felt like a script going in my head,
In every hey girl, honestly, nothing has changed. My belly's rumbling.
Did you not have breakfast this morning?
No, but I never eat breakfast.
Oh, I can't live the day without having breakfast.
If we want to get into it, yeah, because we do talk a lot about like food and fitness.
Yeah.
Basically, when I was working out on a mad one, back when we were recording this podcast and I was serious before I fell to pieces, I would eat breakfast, lunch and dinner and like one healthy snack throughout the day. I was consistent, fantastic. I lost no weight at all. I didn't tone. I felt fitter, but like my body did not change. And I was like, bruv, what is the point? I've just worked out so hard. I spent my life working out. Yeah. So now I'm like, do you know what? Breakfast, it's gone.
Oh, you cut breakfast out?
Dead to me.
You have your 2 meals a day, girl.
2 meals and then about 50 snacks. Sorry. Guys, our camera just started balloons everywhere.
What was that? What made it do that? Like, what made the balloons come up?
Fucking weird.
Anyways, no, yeah. I can't live without breakfast. I'd rather skip dinner, but also just rather not skip any meal.
Dinner? That is criminal.
I'd rather go to sleep hungry than be hungry until like 12. Intermittent fasting, I can't do it because when I wake up, I'm famished, I'm ravishing. Like,
I think because I eat so much in the evening, my dinners are huge, and then typically I'll have a couple of snacks after. But in the morning, I'm not actually that hungry, and I'm still bloated from the night before.
I prefer to sleep light, me.
Yeah, but that's what you should do.
Yeah,
really and truly, I should be eating a big breakfast. And also, who has time in the morning?
Work from home.
Even then, even then, I will find something to distract me. But
I get it.
In summary, no, I haven't had breakfast. Let us know, guys. Are you a breakfast? Are you a brunch? I quite like a brunch because like lunch you can have breakfast.
I love a brunch. I went to there's this really good brunch place in Clapham. Actually,
too far.
The reason that I went is because I got set up on a blind date by my colleague.
Oh, yeah, this one.
So in conclusion, it didn't go well. It didn't go bad. I really got on with the guy. I just wasn't attracted to him. We moved.
It happens.
But the brunch place that we went to was so delicious. Like, it was like Lebanese brunch food. So there was like hummus and like halloumi. Ooh, fresh sourdough bread.
You're speaking to me.
No, it was so good. Highly, highly recommend, guys.
I'm addicted to Lebanese at the moment. Oh my god. Like top tier cuisine. I have to put it up there as like top 3.
It is really good.
Mate, delicious. No, right now I'm really craving French toast. When I went to Belfast, I had French toast and it was just...
Can I say something? I've never had French toast in my life. I tried to make it once and I was like, this tastes mad eggy. I think I made it wrong.
No, you need the toast that's like this thick.
The brioche.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did it wrong and I just haven't tried it since because of that.
We're going to have to go for brunch, a proper brunch.
Yeah.
Anyways, love.
Yes, anyways.
Other than food, I've been fantastic. Do you know what? Life has just been life, and I feel like I've been working every hour God sends when it gets to the weekend. I've worked so many weekends lately. And again, is it a productivity issue or is it a me problem?
It's a you problem 100%. Because, no, but like, not as in it's you, but it is you.
It is me.
Because why are you doing it on the weekend?
I don't know.
I left, we met up like a couple weeks ago. And I left your house and I was like, I need to work today. And I was like, no, I do not work in A&E. Yeah. I do not need to work today. No one's going to die if I don't do this. I'm just going to wake up early on Monday to finish what I need to finish. But I refuse. I'm 3 years strong. I haven't done work on a weekend yet. I refuse.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I'm just like, I'm the type of person, I'd rather, if work is due on Thursday, I'd rather stay up late Wednesday night and get it done. Or like, if work is due on Monday, I'd rather do it on the weekend so that when I start Monday. But all that I do is that I'm like, oh, I can rest now. So during my working hours, I'm like, oh, look, I have a tea with someone, I can have a chat.
Yeah, so you could have done it on your working day.
Probably, but I would have been more stressed. It would have felt intense.
Know me that, like, I know I can get it done in my working hours. I just procrastinate. But we'll do another episode on that because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so girl, life has just been absolutely laughing. But other than that, it's been nice. Like, I've just been not working out, eating lots of food. I went to the cinema on Thursday to see the Blake Lively movie.
Ends With Us.
Yes.
I've heard so many bad things about this film.
Guys, I loved it.
You're the first person that I know that actually liked the movie.
I thought I hadn't read the book, and then I got in the cinema and it started playing, and I was like, oh my god, this is so weird. It literally feels like deja vu. I feel like I've watched the movie before. Like, I couldn't fully
How
remember
do you forget
the book.
that you read? You know what you need to get? Guys, if you have this, add me on it. Goodreads.
I've seen people, I don't have it.
Because
I should do that.
One of the things which is why I really like that I have the book club at work now, because we can discuss. But every time I finish a book, like, I'm like, I have so much to say that I want to write a review about it. And I haven't done it yet because I've only just got Goodreads. So when I finish the book I'm reading now, I'll write a review. But you can like put stars and you can read what other people said about the book and just keep a track of what you've been reading.
Yeah.
Which is just nice because then, like, I always think like, oh, this book was so good. What was it called again? And like, it's just there on your app.
Yeah.
Get Goodreads. It's so good.
Okay, that's on my to-do list. But I loved it. Yeah, it literally felt like deja vu. And obviously my memory's terrible, so I can't fully remember the book. But from the deja vu I was sensing, it genuinely just felt like the book on the screen. It was the closest I felt a book has ever been to a movie. Unless it's just because I forgot bits and pieces.
I think because you forgot. Because haven't watched it, I haven't read it, so I really can't chat. But everyone I've spoken to has said, like, because a lot of the themes is domestic abuse, right?
Oh, I hear it.
And apparently they glossed over it a little bit.
Yes, they did. Actually, I did feel that.
Okay.
I did feel that because this is quite topical.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember, but let me just rewind. The reason I think I enjoyed it and it was good because do you remember Where the Crawdads Sing?
Yeah.
That book was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And if you've watched the movie, it was the worst movie ever. Like, it just didn't do it justice. And that's what I was kind of expecting, like when you think book, movie, etc. But this one I loved, enjoyed. But I completely agree on the domestic violence thing. Even I was watching, guys, this is so bad. Like, I was watching it thinking, oh, it's not that deep. It wasn't until, which is mad because obviously any form of violence is deep.
Yeah.
But like, once you got to the end and they replayed things, like it was evident he pushed her down the stairs. It was evident he punched her. Like, when they played it at the beginning, it wasn't evident. Like, there's a snip in the kitchen where, like, she goes to get he goes to grab something out the oven without putting like an oven mitt on, so he's going to burn himself.
Yeah.
And she goes to help him and then he burns himself and he turns around. And it looked like, to me, he turned around and like accidentally like caught her. But then at the end, they show that he punched her and stuff like that. So as I was watching
damn.
Yeah.
Spoil the film for everyone.
Oh, sorry. I'm assuming by the time this dropped, everyone would have gone to see it if they wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there were bits where it was like, it didn't look that bad. And you were like, oh, he accidentally turned around and bumped into her. Like, that happens. Yeah, I agree with that now that I'm looking at it in hindsight.
Okay.
But I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie. And I thought the acting was like, I just love Blake Lively. I know she's very
I used to really love her, but since this press tour, I'm like, I don't like her at all. She's just like such a bitch.
Interviews.
She's just like, she just seems like such a bitch. Like,
I can't imagine someone with Ryan Reynolds being a bitch.
She seems like it.
Mental. I think I need to watch some of the interviews. I saw something on Instagram today where it was like, apparently she said to her interviewer that they look pregnant.
Yeah.
And then it turns out she was infertile. Like, that's bad luck, because how were you to know that was the case?
Yeah, but why would you even say that?
You should never, ever tell someone they look pregnant. God forbid.
It's a touchy subject for sure.
Yeah. But that's me. My week was super chilled last week. And yeah, where work is lying and down, it was just lovely. Like, this Friday, I sent Maggie a picture. I was like, working hard or hardly working, honey, because it was beautiful. My manager called me at lunchtime. He was like, Ellie, oh, he's so cute. He was like, Ellie, don't do an Ellie special this week.
I'm so good.
Like, love him. He was like, don't do an Ellie special. He was like, clock off at lunchtime. Not lunchtime, that's a stretch. But he was like, clock off early, please. You've worked hard. He was like, don't do an Ellie special, just enjoy your weekend.
You better keep that laptop away for this whole weekend.
Then I ended up sending him an email at 5 p.m. But I did take like a 3-hour lunch break. That's the thing with me, my hours are inconsistent.
Yeah, no, me too. But I think, sticky.
Yeah, how have you been, my love? What have you been up to?
So I went on a night out this week.
Of course you did.
Midweek.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
Midweek night out. I can't lie. I think I'm getting too old. Not too old, but I think I'm just tired.
Who are you?
I'm not too old. But I think I'm just tired to go out during the week.
Yeah, I hear it.
But then I like going out during the week because if it's not like a good night out, or I just feel like I still have my weekend to recharge.
Yeah. Me personally, if you're going on a night out, I'm not big on night outs, but like I'm happy to go to a bar or for like food and a good few drinks. A Thursday or a Friday night.
Yeah, so I went.
Yeah, I love it.
No, so I went to the Box. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay.
Where is it?
It's this club in Soho. If you know about the Box, then people were gasping that I went there. It's like, it's known for like
strippers now.
It's not a strip club, but it's known for being like a bit promiscuous and like it's really hard to get in and like you're not allowed to film anything in there. Like,
oh wow,
yeah, it's
love
really...
that rule, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so heavy on not fucking filming people when they're embarrassing themselves.
No, for real. So the way that I got in is one of my friends, she goes out to Mayfair clubs quite a lot. So she has, and to get into Mayfair clubs, you have to have a promoter.
Yeah.
We
told that story before.
Yeah, been there, done that. Long day. But to get into the Box, you either have to pay, I think it's like £700 for a table, and then you also have a minimum spend of like a couple K that you have to spend in order to get in.
Imagine wasting that much money on alcohol.
It's ridiculous.
Food, I might allow it.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So obviously, I'm not going to pay £700 or a couple grand to go into a club. Like, absolutely not. But pretty privileged, I can get in with a promoter for free.
Love it.
This promoter life, like I've never done it before, but it's like you get there and you meet like all these other girls that are also there to get in with the promoter.
Is that not a wild concept?
Yeah, it is. I felt like such a commodity. Like,
literally,
I am the commodity here. If something is free, it's because you are the product.
It is never free. Nothing is ever free.
Exactly. But I was curious about this club, so I was like, I can firm it for one night. It's not a problem. Like,
it's up to you. If you're comfortable with that kind of thing, it's fine. Like, they're not selling you off.
Yeah, but I just don't like the in fact, I hate the concept because I feel like I'm so independent, that I hate the fact that like in this scenario, my value is just that I'm a woman. I hate it. Anyways, but for the plot, I was like, let me do it. And I was wearing heels. When do I ever wear heels clubbing? Like, it's just not my style. Anyways, so we get in and like we get given like a section, like we sit down. When I say free drinks all night, like they bring over this vodka bottle and like all sorts of mixers, and it's even the promoter was like, you can pour it yourself because I don't want you to like, I don't want to put too much alcohol or too little, like you pick however.
That's nice. I like that.
So I get the cup and I'm like, yeah.
She's like, you wouldn't have poured enough, honey. Let me show you how it's done.
And it's like the bottles just kept coming and coming and coming. But the thing is, I actually wanted to go there just to see the show. Yeah. Because there's performances. So I wasn't even trying to get lit.
Oh, it's kind of like, is it like a Cirque du Soleil kind of vibe?
Similar, yeah. But like the next level.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. It's exactly like that. So like we're drinking and stuff, but the music that they play in between performances is so something I cannot get down with. Like it's proper like dush, dush,
no.
Dush. But not even like a good dush dush, because I am a fan of the dush dush.
I'm not dush dush at all.
I am. Do you know what? I'm a fan of the unts unts, but this was more dush dush. It was just, there was nothing. It was giving me absolutely nothing to work with. So I was just sitting there in my heels because it wasn't even my heels. I had to borrow heels because I don't own heels because I never wear heels. But I'm trying to become a heels person.
Heels are sexy.
I'm trying to become a heels and a lipstick person. So I bought my first lipstick the other day.
Love it.
But anyways, so I'm waiting for the act to start. Finally, it starts. At this point, we got there at like 11. It's now like midnight. So I've been waiting an hour and a half for this fucking performance.
Bedtime. I've been on the floor. Because when I'm bored, I'm like, drink.
On a work night, like, come on. Anyways, so the performance starts and it's like this like woman who's like kind of naked and she's like dancing and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, cool.
What's kind of naked for the plot?
Oh yeah, so she's topless and she's like just wearing knickers, I think.
Okay, so it is like fairly promiscuous.
It's promiscuous, yeah. Wouldn't bring my dad, for example.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, this is classy, whatever, like classy in inverted commas. And then like this guy and this girl comes out and like they're in roller skates.
Oh my god!
And like he literally like he puts a rope around his neck. She bites onto the rope and swings around his neck.
Holy crap!
She's like swinging. I'm like, oh, like, I think she's gonna like crack her head open on the floor. She's coming so close to the floor, like she's going like zoom, zoom. I'm like, oh my god, this is a show.
Really cool. It's like proper circus kind of vibes.
It was.
Wow.
Until there was this act, and it was like an old man who had boobs, like surgically.
Oh, I thought you meant he was like chunky.
No, like a really fit man though. Like he was really toned, but he had boobs, right?
Yeah. And
he literally like, I just can't even describe what he did. Like there was one where sorry, I actually gagged because I was like, this is so disgusting.
I'm so confused.
I feel sick, like reliving it. There was a toilet.
No.
There was a toilet.
Guys, if you're watching the visuals right now, then he is literally just gagging.
There was a toilet on the middle of the stage, and he like puts his hand in the toilet and gets like what I'm guessing it's not shit in it because it is real life.
Yeah.
But he gets something that looks like shit. And I don't know why I'm gagging so much because I was fine on the night. He picks something up that looks like shit from the toilet, starts like licking it and stuff. I actually feel sick.
ASMR over here.
He starts like licking it and stuff and like rubbing it all over himself. And then he like gets like cleaning products and he's like splashing on people. Luckily, I wasn't that close to the front, innit?
What the fuck?
And then he gets a toilet brush, like a spiky one, and he shoves it up his arse and starts going in and out. And then he gets like the plunger, and with the back of the plunger, shoves the plunger in his arse, and he's like sitting on it and like going up and down on it. And then to the icing on the cake is that he then licks the bit that he puts in his arse. And I was like, oh, we need to leave. Like, I've seen it all now. Like, it was a lot.
What was everyone's reaction in the crowd?
I think people there were like pinging. Like, I think they were like on drugs.
Oh.
Because there's no way you're enjoying that music not on drugs. Like, I'm sorry. There's no way. And people were just like,
this act come about? Who said, yeah, this is the act?
I don't know. The thing is, because I've been to Thailand, right? And there they have these things called ping pong shows, which is basically a sex performance, right?
Yeah.
So like the sex part, I was like so chill about. Like I was like, oh, whatever, like they're kissing, whatever, like it's cool, whatever. But that, they didn't have that in Thailand. Like that was just disgusting. Like that was not sexy at all.
That's wild.
And then the last act was this group, people came out dressed in Teletubbies, and I was like, this is traumatic because Teletubbies was my shit when I was younger. And they're all in these inflatable Teletubby costumes, and then this guy who's dressed up as the sun, you know, the sun at the start of the Teletubbies, this fat man is like, he comes out and like he like puts like this powder on the stage, and you know the Hoover from Teletubbies comes and like sniffs it up like it's meant to be like cocaine or whatever. And then all of a sudden the inflatables like deflate and like these sexy women come out of the Teletubbies and they're all like dancing and all of this shit and like for the sun. It was just like, it was wild.
Wow.
But it was a free night out for me. It was an experience.
People are different. Like, how do you produce such a show? How do you sit? Because they must sit sober to design this show.
Yeah. Exactly.
How do you sit sober and not on drugs and be like, this is our creation, this is my vision?
And I was speaking to this guy there who like, also, every man that's in there, I'm like, every man here must be rich because for men to get in, you have to pay. Like, there's no promoters for men. Unless you like this guy I was speaking to, he used to work there, so he can get in. But other than that, like, you have to pay. And I was speaking to that guy, he was really lovely, and he was like, yeah, like, I was like, is it like this all the time? And he was like, yeah, this is pretty standard. And like, and then later I saw him, like, he was like kissing like 2 people at the same time, and I was just like, I just came to say bye. But, and I also think, like, the problem with these clubs is that because the men in there are very rich, or financially irresponsible, either or, but they've paid a lot of money to be there, I think they feel entitled. So like, this man came over and was speaking to me, and I was just like, allow it, like, please allow it. And he was just like, he just kept coming over to speak to me, and he like touched my back or something. And the friend that I was with, she literally like got his hand. She was like, don't touch her.
I'm dead. I love it.
But I feel like the men feel entitled, and I'm just like, allow it. Like, it's already hard for me to like men, let alone like men like this. I'm just like, oh. But yeah. Then I had work the next morning. I got home at 4 a.m.
In the office.
So I had a 9 a.m. meeting in the office, but luckily it got cancelled last minute, like literally at the last hour. God. And I was like, oh, amazing. So I got home, showered, went to sleep, woke up bright and early to start my job.
Bloody hell, that sounds terrifying.
It was an experience for sure.
Mate, it also just like shocks me that people spend grams on alcohol when they could go on holiday.
I know.
Like, I know not everyone loves holidays. Like, we love holidays, but please.
I know.
Imagine.
It does make me think though, like, this is one slice of nightlife that I hadn't seen in London. And like, even outside, there's no sign to say that this is a club. Like, it just looks like a door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, how many more underground things are there in London that we're just not privy to at all?
Oh, so many. I bet there's so many.
It's interesting. But yeah,
absolutely mental. That was fun. Guys, Maggie's really giving with her stories at the moment. I'm bloody loving it. It's so good. Should we jump into it?
Yeah, so I'm watching this series at the moment called Industry. I don't know if any of you have watched it. I was actually recommended to watch it by a colleague, and then one of my friends said that she watched it as well. It's basically this show where these grads, they go into, like, this is their first job, so they're on a grad scheme at the London Stock Exchange. So they're working on like the stock floor and like trading and buying and selling and all of this. And it made me think, like, the first episode shows their interviews, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I remember being that grad and interviewing and saying things like they're saying. And then it made me think, like, wow, I've actually come so far, and I feel like I don't appreciate it. Because even this week, one of my colleagues was out of office, so I had to step in on his project, and I just stepped in. Like, I had to do some background reading and stuff, but I kind of knew the answers to stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've actually learned. Like, I'm actually... A lot of the times I also feel like, I'm sure we'll do an episode where it's like, I know nothing, but I've come a long way from where we started as grads.
Yeah.
And it just made me think about how far we've come. And then you sent me a message that you'd done a work trip and like
hopped on a first class train, and guys, I felt bougie.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Who am I? And that's not even like, imagine to people that's his standard.
Exactly.
To me, I was like, wow. They were like, here's the menu. What do you want? I said, what? Me?
No,
yes,
please. To be honest, even when I went to the Philippines, one of my colleagues went with me, and he was just like, oh, like another trip. And I'm just like, another trip? Like, this is so exciting. Like, I feel so privileged to be here. And the hotel they're putting us up in and like all of this. And it's just like, even like simple things, like when I got to the hotel, they took my bags for me. And I'm like, guys, that's so nice. And it made us think, like, our backgrounds and where we're from, our perspective of these situations is so different in comparison to someone else who's had a completely different upbringing.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. Honestly, like, I feel like we talk about this a lot in terms of like owning your success, being super happy, celebrating it, etc. And we kind of just breeze over it.
Yeah.
That little old me, like, from when I was super young, if someone had told me, yeah, you'd work at like a top, I don't know if we're top 3, top 5, who cares, but like a top firm, like a global firm, you'd be catching flights for your job, you'd be like traveling first class on the train. You'd be able to expense lunch and drinks. Like, if someone told me that would be my lifestyle, I'd just be like, nah.
So maybe some people listening to this are like,
That's
these
so
girls,
standard.
like, yeah, like, okay, like, you get to expense your lunch, and but it's like, it's so amazing. I don't know, like, it feels like if I don't feel like I feel like we're socially climbing, yes,
Yeah.
but it's not like we're rich, obviously, because you guys know we're not. But it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm socially climbing somewhat, because this is not something my parents did.
Yeah, same.
Like, not at all. And I'm just like, wow, like, is this actually happening?
Yeah, bruv. It just, it made me deep. Wow, you can honestly go like wherever you want to go. And I'd say my career is so standard. Like, I'm a surveyor. That's such a standard job title.
That's why I'm an analyst. Like, it's such a standard job title too. But we're like, I don't know, like, why are we deep in it so much? Like, it's
just felt bougie. It just felt bougie as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, flying, and I've never flown from London City Airport.
Isn't that the best airport to fly? Guys.
Right. Elite. Like, I just got there, scanned my little boarding pass, went through.
You're in and out of that airport in 20 minutes. Like, it's amazing.
And it was a 10-minute bus journey there.
Oh.
And he was like, don't get a bus, get a cab. It's really early in the morning. And I was like, I'm not getting a cab. Like,
you said no.
No, of course I said no. I live around the corner.
See, that's poverty mentality though, because you're like, why would I waste money on this when it's not even your money?
Mate, the other day I was so hungry, so when I was in Belfast, I was like, I'm definitely stopping for lunch today, because usually I wouldn't stop for lunch. I was like, I'm definitely stopping. I went to a little cafe, got my French toast. I was like, this is amazing. I'll just people watching. And then after I did my second inspection, I went back to the airport and I was like, you know what? I'm hungry again. So I got lunch.
Yeah.
And I was like, spending.
No, but that, like, when I went to the Philippines, I had to do, because I don't have a company card. I think because we're an NGO, it's a bit techier to do all of that. But I could expense everything. And when I was doing it, I ended up spending like £20 a day, like, because it's not that expensive there. Yeah. And I submitted it to my manager and I was like, is that normal? And I was like, what did my colleagues spend? Like, did I overspend? Like, I was so stressed. These times I was not dining in fancy places, like, and I was just like, gosh, some people don't even think about this.
No.
It's insane.
It's mental. People are just like, yeah, that's cheap. Like, I'll just spend. One of my colleagues was booking lunch for like him and some clients. Or like, I think he went somewhere like Nobu or Novikov or whatever those like restaurants are.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it costs like I think £75 each just for like a little bit of lunch. He was like, we didn't drink though, that's why it was so cheap. And I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, £75 on lunch without alcohol. What and how and why?
That's ridiculous in my mind.
Yeah.
But to some people, like, I don't know, it's just so different. And it's funny being at work because so many people have come from so many different backgrounds. Yeah. Like, obviously we both have very humble beginnings, and like our parents like are not in the corporate life and did I don't know, what are they called, like blue collar jobs? Is that what they're called?
I don't know.
I think it's blue collar, and I think we're doing white collar.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I might be wrong though, so don't quote me. But then like there's people that I work with, and one of them is based in India, and his dad works in the government, so he's like setting up all these meetings for us with like the minister of this and the minister of that, and I'm like, how do you know these people? Like, how do you have these connects? And it's because his family is in that world. And like one of the girls that works in London, like she lives in Chelsea, and her dad works in, like, has always worked in finance and all of this, and I'm just like, it's such a different life,
mate. It's honestly, I feel like money is a certain like part of it, but it is who you know.
It's definitely who you know. And what you have access to, because even the other day, I don't know, a few weeks ago, it was A-levels results days.
Oh my God, yeah.
And we were talking about it in the office, and we were talking about clearing, and I was like, I remember like I was panicking and I was calling, blah, blah. And my colleague was saying like, yeah, like my mum was calling like this university, that university. I was like, my mum didn't even know what clearing was. Like, like she didn't go to university here, and like all of this. It's just like all these little things are so different. And actually, I forgot to tell you this, but last week my manager we have our 1-to-1 every Monday, and we jumped on, and she was like, I was just, because I spoke to her about my parents and stuff, and she was like, I was just thinking about you and like how, like where your parents have come from, and like how, because obviously my parents like migrated here from Brazil, and like my dad couldn't speak English and all of this, and I've told her about the move to Devon and stuff, and she was like, they must be so proud of you, of like what you're doing.
That's so cute.
I was like, bitch, you're gonna make me cry. I started tearing up because she also caught me on a date.
But that's really sweet, like the fact that she was just sat there like thinking about you and your family.
I know.
That is so cute.
You're so cute. I think it's because she has like kids my age.
Yeah.
And obviously her kids have had a very different lifestyle because her and her husband did really well, and like they used to live in houses with like maids and stuff like this. It's just very different. And I was just like, that's so cute.
That is adorable. Oh man.
Yeah.
I also just yawned. I'm not crying, I swear. That is really sweet though.
Yeah, you have to like always, I don't know, just appreciate how far we've come and how far we still have to go. But it is, I don't know, we're having a good day in it. There'll be a day where we're like, oh my gosh, we're doing absolutely nothing, and we'll have an existential crisis. But it is important to like, even from like, remember who you were in that first interview at your current job to who you are now is so different, and you've learned, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, I honestly, so when I turned 25, I said I was going to write a letter to my 30-year-old self. Oh. I still haven't done it, but I want to do it because looking back, like if I'd written one being 20, imagine you wrote it like when you were 20 to your 25-year-old self, and you're like, wow, look at me. I'm literally everything I ever wanted to be, which is mad because now I'm ungrateful. And I'm like, you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
Minus the abs, I'm basically everything I wanted to be. But yeah, I have so many dreams for where I'll be in 5 years' time. Like, if I'm hopefully still with Billy and my body is functioning as it should be, like, I might have kids in 5 years' time. Do you know how wild that is?
And that's when I'll stop talking to you.
Like, imagine a child, hopefully, God willing, a house.
You'll have a house. You'll have a house by the end of this year.
Please, amen. A house, like, hopefully at least 2 promotions.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is
like,
crazy.
It's just mad how much life can change, and it's really exciting to look back and deep how far you've come. And I think we were just doing that. Like, I was on the train getting my little pancakes delivered to me, and I was messaging Maggie like, oh my God, we do not deep this enough.
No, honestly. Even the other day, like, so my mum and my brother were staying with me for like a week or whatever. And then I had like guests stay with me. I just had a lot of people in my house. And I came home for the first time and there was no one there. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I live alone. Like, what an achievement.
Yeah.
And also, I have to caveat, I live alone because I live in my parents' flat. So it's much more affordable. Like I probably couldn't, well, I probably could. But
yeah, you could.
But I understand I have that privilege. So for any of my friends listening, like, I understand I have a privilege too.
Yeah.
But it was like, wow, like I'm actually sitting here in my living room, like decorated the way I want to decorate it, clean like I want it clean because I'm sick in the head. And like, I was just like, wow, like that girl in A-levels would be like wild about this right now.
Yeah.
It's insane. We have to take a minute to stop and appreciate.
No, I fully agree. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, looking back is so important. I was doing a gratitude journal at the beginning of this year and I stopped it. It was basically not a gratitude journal, but it was like every week I'd write down what I was grateful for. And then I just fell off.
You're not grateful anymore.
No, I mean, it made me deep every week, like the little things that happened that I was really grateful for. Like just seeing a family member or seeing friends.
Yeah.
Most likely a family member. or like something went well at work. Or I just had a really good experience. Or like even I hit a PB on like a run. Do you know what I mean? Like just the small things, it really made me analyse those. But yeah, I need to get back into that. Maybe once a month. I'll put down like my biggest achievement of the month, a bit more achievable.
Yeah.
Than once a week.
I think it's good. It's good to always like keep in check. And I think especially with everything going on in the world, like there's literally no difference between the lives we were born into and being born into a life of like a refugee or something like that. Like it's just pure luck. Like there's no, so it's just really taking the moment to like acknowledge your privilege and just be really grateful, and then using your privilege to do amazing things. Like for me, it's like, I don't feel pressure. It's internal pressure, if anything, but like, I'm like, my parents like moved continents.
Yeah, your story is...
Before there was like social media and phones and stuff, like, because I feel like now if you go abroad, you're still attached somehow. You're not physically attached, but you are attached to your life because you can FaceTime and all of this.
There's so many platforms that you can use to keep in contact with family members.
Yeah, and it's just easier to like find out things and get information and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they had to do it fully on their own for me to have like a better life and to access university and stuff. So it's like, how dare I not use this privilege and like do the most with it? It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I feel like something that I think about.
Yeah, I love that though. Like, I like the fact that you're like, no, my parents did this for me. I'm going to like make them proud. I'm going to push myself.
Yeah.
Because someone could be like, oh, well, I'm here in England. I've got an easy lifestyle. Just get a standard job. Do you know what I mean? Like, my parents put in the hard work. I can just chill out.
No.
Whereas you're like, the grind continues. No, I love that.
Because I'm like, I need to give back now.
Yeah.
Not that they'd ever ask for it, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, mine obviously was not, my background was not that exciting. Like, I'd like to think I was fairly well off as a child. But for me, it's the connections that I didn't have and that I was lacking. And like, surveying just wasn't a career path that I even knew about.
Yeah.
And like, I'm glad I forged, because originally I wanted to be a lawyer like my sister, my older sister. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer. So glad I didn't do that. Like, I'm glad I forged my own career path. But I don't know what makes me type A. Like, I don't know why I'm so intent on being the best that I can possibly be and why I get so stressed out about things.
I don't know.
If we have any psychologists, sociologists listening to this, what causes that in childhood, please? Because something must have caused it.
Because even if you look at like your siblings, like you're different to some of your siblings. Even like me, even when I look at my brother, he's only 14, so he's still building his character and his personality and stuff. But when I was that age, I remember I was so stressed about school. Like I'd come home and I'd be doing the most studying and stuff like that. Whereas for him, it's hard to get him to do homework. So like I feel like our personality types are definitely different. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I've got different siblings. Like some of them are mad anxious. Some of them just don't care. Like they know they're good at what they do. Yeah. And they're like, I can just literally breeze through life, which is mental.
It is.
And my colleagues are the same. They're so chilled out. Like they're just like, oh no, we'll get to it when we get to it.
So I was talking to my manager about this because my title is senior analyst and there's people on my team who are just analysts. And she was like, you're allowed to like tell analysts what to do kind of thing. And I was so uncomfortable with that. She was like, if you were a man, you wouldn't be. And
your manager just seems elite.
I love her. I love her to death.
Wow.
Again, I hope she
never
sees
this. Such a girl's girl.
Yeah, she's so lovely. But I feel, and she was saying how like that. So my counterparts, my analysts they're not my analysts, but the analysts in my team are men. And she was like, they just run with the project. Like they just do stuff. Like you need to be able to do that as well. And I'm like, gosh, is it a female thing as well?
I think as well in terms of backgrounds, like it's who you know, but it's also, I don't know whether this is like, I'm not trying to stereotype here. I went for drinks with this gal from like a developer, and oh my god, it was so nice. Like we just had such a good chat, and like somehow we got onto like confidence issues and background. And she was saying how a lot of the people she works with in her company, which isn't the same for like my company, but they're all from private schools.
Interesting.
And she was like, they just have this air of confidence. Like it's ingrained into them from a young age just to like own who you are, be confident. Like it's not cocky. It's literally just confidence and like believing in your abilities and knowing that, yeah, I'm good at this and I'll be fine. And if I make a mistake, everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Whereas this is what she had noticed, like in terms of her being from not a technically like a low socioeconomic background in terms of whatever that is classed as. She just, and going to like a state school, she just didn't have this confidence and this air that they held. And like she was really struggling. And she was like, because I'm worrying so much about how I'm performing, how I'm doing, I'm like making mistakes. because I'm focusing on it. And I was like, shit. And I slightly noticed the same, and also in terms of like goals and aspirations. So I have a friend at work who was like privately educated to an extent. She talks about jobs and she's like, oh, I'm not staying at this company. Like, I know there's bigger and better things out there for me. Like, I want to be paid more. I want this. I want that. And I'm just like, wow, your background can have such a big impact.
Yeah.
On like the salary that you think is a good salary. First of all,
let's start there, because when I started this job, because I knew shit about anything, the woman was like, what's your expected starting salary? And at that point, I'd only had summer jobs. And I was like, well, if I'm getting like 2K in the summer, then like 18K in the year is okay. Obviously, she was like, that's not what I started on. It wasn't that far off from that, to be honest. But like, it's just things like that. Like, if your parents are on like, if they start, I don't know, what's like a good salary, like 50K or something.
Yeah, that's a good salary.
If your parents are on 50K, like, you would think, oh, okay, well, I need to be near-ish over there. Like, I need to aim for 30s at least.
Yeah.
I would never ask for 30K. I would never.
Yeah.
Obviously, now times have changed and I'm very aware of like salaries and stuff. But yeah, having that expectation.
Yeah. Sometimes I even feel guilty. Guys, this is just an episode where we're just rambling about our thoughts and feelings, by the way. We hope you enjoy these ramble ones. But like sometimes I'm like, have I got my priorities wrong? Because I don't desire a huge salary. Like, I literally just want to be happy. I want a good salary to the point where, like, if in the morning I fancy an £8 coffee and a croissant, I can do that.
Yeah.
And like, if I want to go on 3 trips a year, I can do that. But I don't feel the need to be absolutely minted. And I'm just like, when she talks about, oh no, I couldn't do this job for the rest of my life. I think I said it in last episode as well. And I'm just like, oh, I could do this job for the rest of my life. Like, I'm actually happy.
Okay, this touches on to the backgrounds thing, because I think because you have siblings, you maybe don't feel this. I'm guessing.
Yeah, go on.
Tell me if I'm wrong. But I do feel the financial pressure of like, I need to be rich, like more than £8 for the morning coffee rich. Because in my head, I'm like, I want to like retire my parents because I want to like take that pressure off them. If we go so really deep, it's like, because so many of like our problems are to do with finance.
Money, yeah.
And I'm like, if I can take that pressure off, then it, but obviously, like, I always have this dilemma, because when I really sit to think about it, I'm like, I really want to like do the most so that I can like also help my brother and stuff, and like, and my personal goals as well. But I don't desire like living in a mansion. Like, I really don't care about like stuff like that. Like, I don't want to be on a private jet. Like, that's I don't care for things like that. Like, I just want ease when it comes to money. Like, I want to be able to like get an Uber if I need to get an Uber and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't care too tough about the private jets and stuff like that. That's not what I'm aiming for. I also don't think that's sustainable, but that's a whole separate conversation. But for me, it's like being able to like make my family's life easier.
Love that.
And that's like the kind of pressure that I put on myself. Like, literally, my parents aren't asking me for this at all, but that's why. And then I have these like moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 25 and ideally I would like to be able to do something for them quick, but I'm also still 3 years into my career, and there's just like, and I really enjoy my job, and I know that because I work for an NGO, like, I'm not going to get 6 figures here, so eventually I'll have to jump ship, but I'm also enjoying, and I'm getting like all of these great things here, but I will have to jump ship so that I can earn more, so that I can achieve these goals. And it's just like, I get into such a spiral, because it's like, what if I only achieve it when it's like, oh, I'm getting emotional. Oh. Because it's like, what if I only achieve it when it's like too late?
Oh
like,
my God.
So I don't know. Because it's not even that deep. But like, it's like, if I like actually want to, this is so ridiculous.
No, it's not ridiculous. I fully hear this. It's so nice.
Yeah, like, I feel like if I actually want to make a difference, it would be now.
Yeah.
And like, if they already get to like retirement age, then I haven't. This is so
funny. It's not dumb. I hear you, but I think you also need to take into account the fact that like your parents made sacrifices for you. They don't expect you to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And like your manager said, your parents are so fucking proud of how far you've come and how much you've achieved at such a young age. And there will be time for you to grow and achieve as much as you want and like need. And even if they retire, like God forbid, they'll still have years ahead of them for you to like shower them and make them feel like happy and chilled and like give them luxurious things. One of your things on your list was to pay for a family member to go on holiday, right? You just took your brother on holiday, did you not?
Yeah, I know.
Like, sis!
This is exactly like, this episode is literally an illustration of my mind, because like I'll have these moments where I'm like, I've come so far and I've done so much, and then I have like this moment where it's like, I'm just not far enough. It's just so damn
No, I fully hear you.
It's just like this constant, but I think that's coming from like our background, because I don't know, because I really don't know people that are like rich like that in it. So
yeah.
Like I have like colleagues and stuff, but we don't talk about stuff like this. So I don't know, maybe they do feel a different pressure because they feel the pressure to live up to their parents.
Yeah.
And then that's a whole different thing. But I feel like this is always going to be something that's like at the back of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Woo.
Man,
fucking hell.
I do hear it. I think for me, you're so right in that I have older sisters.
Yeah.
And my eldest two in particular have like, that seems so harsh, but they've like done extremely well. And given that they were the first out of the pack and they had no role model to look up to because like my parents did blue collar work or whatever.
Yeah.
They always treat my parents and like they'll give them little things. So I don't feel that pressure as much because I know that there's 6 of us. For you are like my elder sister.
Yeah.
So you're the one carrying the weight of the world. Whereas like there's people, I'm privileged in the sense that there's 5 other sisters before me. And I know that God forbid I lost my job tomorrow, there would be people to take care of me, which is like such a massive privilege to have.
Yeah.
But I totally hear you in the sense of you want to give back. Like even now, going back to the little things in life, just like coming home and being like, you know what, I'm going to buy my mum some flowers today. Yeah. Like stuff like that is such a win for me. I'm like, oh, I can actually spend my own money.
Yeah.
And like, it's the little things. I honestly, genuinely believe it's the little things in life. Like these big dreams are amazing to have, and oh my God, it would be beautiful. Like if you could support your parents in their retirement, but even just like you taking them out for dinner or you popping up to see them in Devon or you paying for your brother to go away. Like it's the little things like that that will mean the world to them that you probably don't even realize is like having a huge impact on how they feel and like the weight off their shoulder.
No, I hear it. I think, do you know, there was like this moment that like really like, it's just this memory that I feel like is like going to be in my brain like forever, because I was in Devon and I was working from home and I thought, fucking hell, I look a mess.
You actually don't. The camera quality is doing good.
And obviously working from home, like if I want to, and especially when I'm in Devon because I don't have a routine, because it's like I know I don't need to be anywhere, I just need to be at home all day. I'll wake up like just before I need to be awake to like make breakfast and like start working. So I'm sleeping a good 8 hours minimum, if not more.
Love it.
And then like I clock off at if I've had a good day, I'll clock off at a normal hour. If I've procrastinated, that's a different story. But my dad, he's a lorry driver for the bin collection in Devon. And he like drove past this day. It was like a day like this where it was like raining. It was cold. It was winter. So I'm like comfy in my tracksuits because I didn't have any meetings, or if I did, it was just internal, so it didn't matter. And like I'm like cozy, like working from home. And I saw him like he like came out of the truck and he was like lifting up all the bins and putting it in the truck and stuff like that. And I was like, gosh, even at my age, where I'm meant to be like the most fit and healthy ever, I would find that exhausting. And like my mum works in a nursery, so she's like constantly lifting up babies and stuff. And I'm like, it's physically exhausting. And then I had a moment where I was like, wow, I'm so privileged. Like the fact that I get to sit here and work from home and earn more than them doing this
crazy.
Is insane. And I think that's just like always stuck in my mind where I'm like, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's mad. I will say it again. They don't make them like they used to.
They don't.
My mum will run around with my nephews and nieces on a Sunday. Like, she'll cook and she'll look after them at the same time. She'll play with them in the garden. And I'm just like, I've had a long week at work. I kind of just want to sit on my phone and chill.
I'm
like, so bad.
My back hurts because I've been brocking because I went clubbing midweek. Like, not because I'm like doing work. Like, it's ridiculous.
I've got physio on my neck. I've got physio on my knee. Like, I'm really rinsing these corporate benefits. That's another thing. This episode is really but that's another thing that made me deep. Like, wow, I'm that big. I genuinely do remember when I was little and I used to be like, I want to work in London, I want to sit in Starbucks with my laptop. And like, I actually do that sometimes.
Yeah.
And another, like, one of the things that made me deep how far we've come and stuff is like my corporate benefits. Like, I'll be having acupuncture every week on my back and it's lovely. I'm having like 1-to-1 PT sessions for my knee.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow.
I know. And we're circling back. How like amazing it is, and like
and people might be listening to this thinking like we're mad. These are small things.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that I'd like to think I'm fairly humble. Is it humble? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm grateful that it's the little things in life.
Yeah.
That bring me joy.
It's true. We were even talking about like you sat your APC and I sat my CFA, and like actually getting that qualification was obviously, it felt amazing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel as amazing as the level of amazing is not the level of awful that it feels like on the way there. Like, it doesn't match up. It's it's not underwhelming. Like, it definitely isn't. Like, I was so happy, so relieved. But it's like, it's not the big things. It really is the little things that you're like I was saying, like, just sitting at home and be like, oh my gosh, I live alone. What a lovely moment. Like, what a lovely 10 seconds I've just had of like deep in that. And like, it's really like those small things.
No, 100%. I had my family went away during summer and I had the house to myself. And like, it just gets me so excited, God willing, for when like me and Billy have a place of our own. And like, you can call it your own. You come home and that's your space.
Yeah.
Please, Lord. Yeah, one day it will happen.
I know. Well,
anyways,
that was an emotional roller coaster of an episode.
Yeah, guys, we just wanted to like share a little bit more about ourselves with you. But soon we'll get back into our eps where we're doing polls and stuff. So if you have anything you want us to discuss, you want to send in your dilemmas or just funny stories, things that have happened to you, or your views, please do send them in to grownupspodcast@gmail.com
or DM us at grownupspodcast.
Thanks.